Hi everyone. Today we're going to be talking about the SAMR model and how that relates to instruction and learning within the classroom. So to start, the SAMR model is simply a framework that categorizes 4 different degrees of technology integration. So it's really looking at how teachers are implementing technology in the classroom and how we're using that technology to leverage opportunities for our students in their learning. So what is the SAMR model? In the stages of the SAMR model, you have substitution. In substitution, technology acts as a direct tool, substitute with no functional change. So this might look like typing a paper in Microsoft Word. All we're simply doing is moving students from the paper pencil method of writing a paper and simply substituting in technology for them to complete the same task. Moving on is augmentation. So in augmentation, technology acts as a direct tool substitute with functional improvement. So for example, this might be typing that paper in Google Docs instead of Microsoft Word, where students can share and collaborate on one document from different devices, as well as provide feedback for one another. Next, we have modification. So in the modification stage, technology allows for significant task redesign. For example, if you're studying the regions of the United States, students might participate in a Google tour of the landmarks within each region in order to gain information on that topic. And then finally, we have the stage of redefinition. Redefinition in this stage, technology actually allows for the creation of new tasks that were previously inconceivable. So one example might be that students create a movie about a narrative piece that they've composed, and then they digitally share this movie through YouTube or Flipgrid in order to gain feedback on a global scale from other participants outside of the classroom. So what we're all thinking and asking is, why the SAMR model? Do I really need to know this information? So when we're considering planning for technology instruction in the classroom, it's important to use the SAMR model for many different reasons. So first, we're actually gaining exposure to a lot of technology being brought into our classrooms between Chromebooks and iPads, and then we're looking at interactive flat panels. So with this exposure, it's really important to have purpose and intent with how we're using this in order to engage our students in their learning and prepare them for the real world. Another consideration is that leveraging technology to enhance student learning has become imperative, and what that's doing is allowing for innovative learning, where students can start to personalize their own learning and create their own digital path to be successful in the classroom. This also leads to student independence. So when we're looking at student independence, we're considering that technology provides a sense of autonomy in learning that's allowing students to take ownership of their own education, which is ultimately our goal as teachers and what we would like students to do. Moving on, we're looking at some of those 21st century skills as well, where we're considering critical thinking. So the more that we're leveraging these technologies within the classroom, the greater the opportunity we have to increase critical thinking and problem-solving skills in our students, which are some of those skills that they need in order to be successful in the real world. Also, we are creating experiences for our students as opposed to just giving them information. So students are gaining more knowledge from exploration and experience than they are from rote memorization, which means that those paper pencil methods are not necessarily cutting it nowadays when students are so exposed to all this technology in many different ways, between technology at home, at school, and in the world around them. So finally, with the advancements in technology, students must engage in these opportunities that are going to prepare them for the real world careers that they're going to be seeing in the future. So how do I use the SAMR model in my classroom? Well, that's one big concern in looking at how it's relevant to us as teachers. So considering the SAMR model, one thing to keep in mind is that we're designing with the end in mind. we're looking at objectives and what we want students to know and learn as a result of the digitally enhanced tasks that we're asking them to do. One tip in doing this is definitely not trying to live in the stage of redefinition. Although it's ideal because that stage actually allows us to transform learning and instruction in the classroom, it's not realistic to expect that every digitally enhanced task that students do would be in this stage. So that kind of leads us to the point that when we're looking at the task and what we want students to know and learn, we're also considering what tools students can use that are appropriate for those tasks. So instead of asking students to necessarily memorize content, we might ask them to present on a topic. And when we're doing that and they're presenting on a topic, we're not going to ask them to present using Google Docs or Google Sheets. They're going to be using something like eMaze, like I've used today, or they might be using Google Slides or a variety of other tools. One thing to keep in mind when it comes to this technology integration and using the SAMR model is that we definitely want to start small. You can view the SAMR model as a progression going from the different stages of substitution to augmentation, then modification and redefinition, or you can view this as using the SAMR model to help facilitate a variety of tasks that fall into each of these categories. So just remember to consider keeping close contact and communication with your coach and working with your coach when assistance is needed. Finally, just to present a visual graphic in relationship to the SAMR model, when we're looking at the SAMR model, what we're really doing is we're planting seeds that are going to grow forever. So if you consider the SAMR model as a tree, we can look at substitution as the foundation of that tree, where the seed is firmly planted into the ground and roots begin to form, just as they would with the substitution method of this technology integration. The next step being augmentation, where that tree would begin to sprout and grow. So here technology integration also begins to grow by showing functional improvements such as collaboration in Google Docs. Next, looking at modification. In this stage, the tree modifies itself as it begins to develop branches that transform its structure. So in the modification stage of technology integration, we're also transforming what students are doing in the classroom by promoting significant task redesign. So again, just considering what that might look like with Google Tours and how we can take those students to the next level and allow them to branch out to new experiences. And then finally, redefinition. So as the tree redefines itself by the fruit that it bears, so does technology integration. In the redefinition stage, technology allows for the creation of new tasks that would fail to exist otherwise. So again, just considering what that might look like with a narrative story being redefined as a movie that might be published online to allow for feedback from viewers in a global context.